Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome everyone into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. And everyone, hey, we have a great segment for you today where joining us on the show is a company called Movano. And if you haven't heard about them, I know they sound like a watch company, and in a way, hey, they kind of are. We are going to be talking about wearables and wearable technology. It's of course a huge thing for not just those who are those who are aging, the elderly and sick, but of course, hey, just everyday people are looking to know more about their body, themselves, and how to take better care of themselves. It's going to be a fun segment, and we have, of course, we have the CEO of the company here with us to talk all about, how they do it and, the platform that they've developed for this. But everyone, before we get to that, computeramerica.com. That's going to be hugely important because we'll have a link to our guest website. So if you're busy, if you're driving, don't worry, we got you covered. It'll be right there on the homepage for the next couple of weeks. You can just go find a link right there. But also, we're ramping up our CES 2022 coverage. There's a lot of guests that are signing up, and we're going to have multiple interviews, multiple segments here. And of course, we'll be covering the entire 5-day stretch. So as we start winding down for the holidays, we're also starting to gear up for CES. And we're really looking forward to that. Now, let's go ahead and get started with today's guest. He's waiting oh so patiently in the wings, and of course, joining us is John himself. And John, welcome on to Computer America. How you doing?
Thanks, Ben, for having me today.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. And yeah, so, clearly, I think most people are familiar at this point with wearable technology, but of course, the benefits aren't, really taken advantage of by everyone. I'm sure that, some people are reluctant, to kind of, maybe from a privacy standpoint, maybe from a I don't need that kind of thing standpoint, but we're seeing a lot of advancements in wearable, risk communication and, of course, fall detection, stuff like that. But I wanted you to give a little bit of background on where you kind of come into the space. So, and I guess I should say a bit of your background and a bit of Movano's background. Where,
Okay.
When did you guys start?
Sure. Well, first off, I've been in the medical device industry for about 30 years. So I'm coming at this from more of a medical type of background versus a consumer, say, fitness tracker or wellness solution. And I think that's one important differentiation for us. Part of what we really want to do is to help people make connections between cause and effect and to understand how they feel and the various areas of their health, including activity, sleep, and more. We're going to measure heart rate variability, sleep, respiration, temperature, blood oxygen, steps, and calories. And one of the things that's really important to us is to help people understand the cause and effect of what's happening with their health, to really help them understand when they exercise, it isn't just like they've done a few more steps than they did before, but what does it mean in terms of their heart health and other areas? And so we think that by providing them more information about how their activities affect their overall well-being, they may be more, first off, I think, more informed, but also be able to make more insightful decisions about how they live their life.
And it's great that you highlighted that you're coming at this from a fitness point of view because, clearly from a product standpoint, that's a lot more people. What do you think is, kind of the first reaction from people that who have tried Movano or who have started tracking just their overall wellness and health? Are people surprised that, maybe, I didn't know that, I've been not doing well in this area, or I didn't realize this area needed monitoring? Like, are people surprised at the information that you give them?
Well, first off, we're at the stage right now where we're developing and getting ready to release the first beta product next year. But we've done some early work communicating with people, and we also read how people use existing products and they get all this data over time, but they don't know what to make of it. They don't know what it means ultimately. And so as we've spoken to people, What resonates with them is having the insights and the knowledge associated with the data that's being collected that allows them to understand more about their health.
I understand. So, and of course, being at this early stage, that means that, hey, you're heavily focused on the technology. Why don't we go ahead and move into that? What is, let's see the best way to say this. What is the area that you saw in the current, kind of health tracking area that you thought, they're not doing that right, they're not doing that well enough? Where do you come in with Movano and improve on an area? Is it sensitivity to, steps, calories, all that kind of thing? Or is it simply style? Because, I've seen the mock-ups and yeah, they look great.
Well, it's both actually. We're trying to develop a product that's at the intersection between consumer devices. We want it to look good. We want it to feel good when people are using it. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we're doing it from a medical standpoint. And in that regard, the accuracy of the data that we're providing is very important to us. We will be conducting clinical trials for every metric that we're providing. We will be going to the FDA and seeking medical clearance for all of the metrics so that we have that accuracy, viewpoint as kind of I would say a baseline behind everything that we do. We have seen in some of the trackers they often are very accurate in certain applications and at certain times, but at others they may not be. And so we're really focused on making sure that we are providing accurate numbers whenever we are providing numbers, regardless of what the person may be doing at that particular time.
So, and I know I kind of touched on this a little bit before, but, it's one thing to provide, general health stats and data to individuals, but I mean, a big market here is, of course, connecting doctors and patients. Is your information, kind of medical worthy or, yeah?
That's right. Well, that's a really great question, and it's very important to us. So as we gain FDA clearance for a lot of the measures that we're making, it is now a medical device. And as a medical device, we want to provide the mechanism for people to be able to share the data with their healthcare provider. Imagine if you're going in for an annual physical or biannual and you normally see your doctor and they ask how you're feeling and how you're doing and they'll maybe do some blood work and that's about it. Imagine in the future, if you're wearing this, you can send them a report for your last 30 days. They can look at your heart rate. They can look at how you've been sleeping. They can look at your activity levels. They can look at your oxygen saturation numbers at night. Understand if you're sleeping well, if you may even be at risk of certain things like sleep apnea and whatnot in the future that we could be giving some insights toward with what we have. So the doctor and the person there can have a better conversation about what's really going on in their life.
And that's hugely important for so many reasons. Preventative health we're seeing has way more returns than, of course, just reacting to things and doing that. So now you mentioned a couple times sharing the data. There are multiple ways that you can do this, but I wanted to kind of get into one thing that we always ask companies on the show who collect data like this: security. I'm sure that you've thought of security and keeping people's information safe.
Yes, again, most of my career was spent in the diabetes space, developing insulin pumps and continuous glucose monitoring previously. So for people wearing those devices who have type 1 diabetes, the privacy of their data was very important. And there are medical HIPAA standards and others that we, complied with in my prior life. And obviously with this new company, Movano, we will be doing as well. So we're going to treat all the data, although our goal is to not have any personalized health information, PHI, as part of our messaging, we're still going to treat all of this data with the strictest HIPAA standards to assure that people's data, isn't able to be gained by others.
Right, and then and that's certainly great to hear. And then of course being able to share the data, I'm sure that people will want to share it with their doctors, but they'll also want to share it, I guess, amongst each other. Maybe have family, friends who want to go on this health journey with them, and being able to share that. Tell us about the app and what the app will be capable of.
Well, yeah, that's a great point. There's a few things that the app will be capable of. Number one, we don't want to just show the data, but we want to show relationships between different data. So for example, we may find over time that on days when you exercise more, you sleep better at night. on those days. And we could show you, based upon all the data in the cloud and in history, the difference between your sleep patterns on day when you have more healthy lifestyle versus days you don't. And it's just another maybe motivator to say, hey, if I exercise a little more, I sleep better at night. So we want to learn about these types of relationships and provide it to people. And then, I think about my own mom. She's in Florida. I'm in California. I would love her to be wearing our first product that we're developing, which is going to be a ring, actually in a ring format, where she could be wearing this. And I could kind of, if she allows me to see her data and she allows that to happen, I could basically monitor what's happening with her health over time remotely where I am, and just see, is she sleeping well? Hey, is she getting up and walking around every day? And how's her heart rate and other things? And so I think it's a wonderful tool for people just to see how well everyone in their family's doing. And I think through the pandemic and, all the stress and concerns about one's health, I think having this capability is going to be very valuable for people.
Absolutely. And of course, the whole family. So it's not just, kind of aging parents and things like that, but hey, kids and other and other parts of the family that, let's face it, childhood obesity is a huge problem in this country. And you said getting up and, walking and getting your steps in. Hey, a lot of people don't do it, myself included. So now one thing I kind of picked up on there was obviously the fact that you said your first product is likely going to be a ring. And so we've seen smartwatches, we've seen the pendants that people wear, we've seen, of course, people just using their phone to kind of estimate as best as phones can. Tell us, and I guess the reason a ring kind of catches my attention is because that's a very small form factor. Like, can you do that?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we've worked really diligently on is scaling down the size of our technology. So we have a proprietary radio frequency technology, and we are in the process of getting that all distilled down to a single small little chip that's about a 1/4 inch square that we can put into any form factor that we choose. You have an image of it there. And so it'll be something like that. So basically, it allows us the ability to put it in different form factors. And for our first product, we're actually going to be focusing on women with it primarily. A lot of the smartwatches and other things you see in the market today look like they were designed for men. They're often bigger and bulkier. They're monochrome in color. And so we're developing something that will, we think, resonate with women. Naturally, we can still have a version that can be used by men, but I think we want to put a female focus first in what we're doing, and also show the capability of the technology in terms of form factor by putting it in the shape of a ring.
I would say that technology certainly is design wise, it is male dominant, and the fact that you're kind of angling this towards women, it's something I really hope to see more of, because, like you said, it's just men tend to be the ones designing it, and they don't really have that eye for, kind of what someone would actually want. Like, there's one thing to have to wear a sensor, but it's another thing to want to wear that, and then, of course, get all the benefits from that. So a couple things. You mentioned that RF sensor, and, we can talk a little bit about this in just a bit of detail, but what are some of the things that you were measuring? Because I know you mentioned, for instance, blood sugar level, which, I have diabetic parents, and seeing them, kind of prick themselves and, kind of measure every once in a while, it's not fun. And you can do this without needles or anything.
Well, that's the goal. And it's been one of the dreams in the diabetes space for many, many years. I've been in the diabetes space for about 30 years. So I led the team that developed the first minimally invasive sensor that goes under the skin to continuously measure blood sugars about 20 years ago. And one of the things we've always dreamed of is, can we have a non-invasive approach where you don't have to prick the finger, you don't have to pierce the skin to make a measure. There's been a number of optical techniques that have been evaluated over the years to try to come up with a solution that could maybe do this, but still no one's been able to crack that nut yet. We're trying to use this novel millimeter wave frequency technology at a variety of frequencies that can help interrogate the body non-invasively and look at dielectric changes due to glucose that we could potentially correlate to the glucose levels. So we're conducting clinical trials for this. We're also doing the same for blood pressure. Diabetes and hypertension with high blood pressure combined account for 1 in every 5 healthcare dollars spent in the United States today. And anywhere from like a third to the half of the population either has or is at risk of type 2 diabetes and hypertension. And so trying to, develop a product that in the future can provide that glucose information non-invasively and the blood pressure information non-invasively through a wearable that you wear that you might just like to wear because it looks good. Never mind the fact that it has all these medical applications is what we're really striving for in what we do every day.
Yeah, and I can't say how glad I am that people like you and companies like Movano are working on this, because hey, the medical industry and let's say the fashion industry don't exactly always align, and then on top of that, the medical industry. You have a line here on your website that I read. It was like, feel like a person, not a patient. I mean, the healthcare industry does amazing things. There's a lot of great doctors and other healthcare providers, but they don't have the time to get to know the person. With solutions like yours, I guess they get a bigger picture than that 15-minute, kind of checkup. So you mentioned a bit earlier about the relationship between all this data that you're collecting, and let's say you work out better on days that you get better sleep, stuff like that, or you sleep better on the days that you work out, whatever that relation is. Talk about AI, machine learning. It's almost a buzzword, but it does have real application. What does your platform what are you hoping that your platform kind of evolves into or gets better at over time?
Yeah, it's a great point. So I would say we use machine learning, AI type techniques in a few fashions. Number one, when we collect the data from the radio frequency device, the development of algorithms that will predict glucose or blood pressure, for example, uses various algorithms that take all this data and all this features that we're collecting from the different frequencies that are interrogating the body. And it basically puts it, through this whole process of learning from the data about how it would correlate to the changes in blood pressure and glucose. So that's one application, just to provide the actual metric for those. But then in the cloud, as we collect data from sleep and activity and your temperature and heart rate variability and all these other things at once, and collect more information, maybe a little bit of demographic information from the user in terms of their age and other things, we can start to develop other algorithms that can help convey information about what may work well for you. Have you thought about this? And whatnot. And so that's very important to us. And I think when you think about, as I think about someone's overall health in general, I think about a few things. I think about the food they eat, nutrition, right? That's a big, how much they exercise, what activity they get, how well they sleep, and maybe a little bit nowadays about stress too, because stress levels can affect all of those things in positive and negative ways, depending on, how you are on your stress scale. So as we move to the future, we want to we're monitoring all of those. And so we really want to be able to understand the person better and where they are, both physically, but also mentally, because there's a strong play between the two in people's lives. And I think in the future with the AI, we'll be able to help partner with people and be a friend to people to help them really understand themselves and take appropriate actions to take more control over their health and be the best they can be.
No, you said that perfectly. We've often talked about the idea of healthcare by exception. People, you don't need to hopefully monitor everyone's going to have some level of data stream kind of coming from them, but you deal with those who kind of need help, and you just kind of let the others live their lives. And hey, it sounds like what you're working at is really helping to overturn the healthcare industry as we know it. Again, monitor or not being reactive, but proactive in terms of healthcare. And then, of course, on the technology side, you're looking to do something that's been attempted for years and years and years. And I'm glad that you are putting funding into clinical trials. You are really trying to push this forward in terms of tech and health. And hey, I'm really happy that you were able to come on the show. Before we kind of say goodbye, though, John, and again, thank you for your time. But I want to talk about CES real quick and
Sure.
what your plans are for CES 2022. Are we going to see you out there, or what's that?
We will be in a suite at the Venetian at CES, and people can go through our website if they're interested in meeting with us at the meeting. We're planning to show the evolution of our technology. We plan to show where we're going with our first introductory product, all the parameters it'll be measuring, and how it provides actionable insights to people, and really a lot about the company and our philosophy, and what's important to us, and what's important to us is all of you, and we want to try to develop something that resonates with you and can be helpful to you in living a great and active lifestyle.
Everyone, we've been talking to John Mastrototaro, and hopefully I said that right. But John, and thank you for coming on the show, explaining this to us. Really, it sounds like you have your hands full, but man, that's going to be a really fun journey. And I think you have the background, the knowledge, and hey, you have great aspirations. So I'm looking forward to that. Everyone, Movano.com, Movano.com. Again, we'll have a link over at Computer America directly to this. And John, thank you for taking the time out of your day.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on the show, Ben. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. So, everyone, the music means that we are about done for today, but everyone, we're going to go ahead and do a little bit more this afternoon. Everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Bye, everyone.